everyone. Good evening. Oh, wow. This is going to be a great audience. Right? Because we're going to need a little participation. Nothing too hard, but you're on top of it, I can tell. Welcome to the Wells-Rapp Center for Mallet Percussion Research, the crown jewel of percussion research and performance in the world. We have quite a show for you this evening, and I just want to orient you before we get into it. It's going to be in 3 parts, okay? The first part is what we're doing right now. I'm introducing you to what we're going to be doing. It takes place today in 2025. The second part is a recreation of a 1932 radio show. Hold on a second. Thinking of 1932. They didn't have one of these before. How's that? Anyway, the second part is a recreation of a 1932 radio show, okay? And the third part is just coming back to 2025 and sort of capping it up and what we're doing here at the center and some important people who have really helped things along here that we want to acknowledge. So I'll give you the instructions before we get into it. Let's start things off over here. If you've visited the center here before, you know that it's not just an active place of education, it's also a wonderful place of history as well, because mallet percussion has a great history behind it. And if you go into the Green family exhibit, you'll see this machine and many others, and all of the different exhibits are wonderful, but we just happen to be talking about the Green brothers tonight, of course. And you'll hear a little bit of this. Let's just give you a little demonstration. Some of you know it. That's Yes, We Have No Bananas, about 1923-24, recorded on Edison record by the Green Brothers Novelty Band. And of course we have the new Novelty Band here with us, with a couple of Greens, and we'll introduce you to it later. So this is a bit of history that you'll see here, but you remember, this was the way people heard mallet percussion in the 20s. Either you played it at home, or you bought a record and listened to the Green Brothers and many of the other talented artists at the time, or that was it. There was no internet, there was no radio yet, really. There was no television, none of that. So we're going to take you back to that era with our radio show, which will begin later. And you'll know what I'm doing because after this, I'm going to leave the room. And when I come back in, it'll be 1932. We'll all be in 1932. So that's how you know what year you're in. In 2017, Green's new Novelty Orchestra played a concert here at Kutztown University's Old Main Georgian Room. Now at that time, there were xylophones and marimbas and other mallet instruments strewn all over Old Main. They were tucked in closets, in hallways, maybe even a bathroom here or there, wherever space could be found. And it was clear that mallet percussion instruction at KU was growing beyond its old confines. So an idea was hatched to change all of that. And a few years later, with a large commitment from Richard Wells and Wells-Rapp, and the full support of Kutztown's president, Ken Hawkinson, planning and fundraising began. Donors and supporters joined in. Many of you here tonight, that's why we wanted you to come and share this with us, joined in. And the Wells-Rapp Center for Mallet Percussion Research became a reality in 2023. The CMPR is truly one of a kind in the world, and as its fame spreads, it is becoming a magnet for percussion students from faraway places as well. To help support this group, Lou and Mary Green, you'll see here, Mary have established 2 scholarships to assist undergraduate and graduate students, the George and Joe Green scholarships. So tonight's performance is kind of a repeat, a little bit, of that 2017 show we did, because it We all had so much fun doing it, right? And it was encouraged by Ken Hawkinson, who, as you know, is retiring as KU's esteemed president this year. Now, at this performance, we're delighted this time to feature 4 of the Green Scholarship recipients who have answered the call to percussion at KU, and they will be part of our show, which I think is pretty cool. Now, these students will perform with the Green Brothers Novelty Band with Lou and Mary Green, Mandy Veloz on bass, Jim Burton on banjo, Will-Rapp on drums. I think you may know that name. It's on the side of this building. So join us as we step back in time for that part. To the early 1930s, when George and Joe Green were still working and their music was new and they were actively composing, we'll pretend all of that, and the Novelty Band was making records and appearing on the airwaves. Now, we will do all the performing. All you have to do is fulfill the role of a live studio audience of the 1930s. We will pretend that Kutztown University is a member of the famous NBC radio network. And just like in the old days, I will use hand signals for your participation. I will do this for your applause. And I'll do this. Oh, we don't even need a rehearsal. I have a rehearsal. You've got it down. So together we'll recreate those wonderful years when the Green Brothers' music and novelty music was fresh and new and keeping everyone's toes tapping. So now I'm going to leave the room just for a second. We'll change it into 1932, and that's when I will re-enter. It will be 1932. Good evening, one and all, and especially you listeners in the Midwest. You are listening to Kutztown University Radio, KUR. Thank you for your listenership, especially of those of you in the Midwest who have sent in so many telegrams indicating that our show is coming into your radio sets loud and clear. Welcome to another edition of Masters of the Mallet. Let's begin our program with our theme song, Alabama Moon. Hawkinson Motor Company, makers of the all-new 1932 Hawkinson Dream Sedan, where they say, don't just drive there, dream your way there. I'm your host, Tony Wellman, and today on Masters of the Mallet, we are featuring the music of George Hamilton Green and Joe Green. These amazing superstars of the xylophone and marimba have really set the pace for future mallet performers in America and throughout the world. Now, Joe is a world-class performer, recording artist, and teacher. His brother Joe is equally adept as a performer as well as manager of their business affairs. Now, together, George and Joe manage a correspondence course, which they began in the mid-1920s, now with over 4,500 students subscribed. Some of George's prominent students are Dorothy Remsen, Lionel Hampton, and Red Norville. Today, our show will feature 4 of their most recent students who have mastered Green Brothers techniques. Every single one of them comes to us from Kutztown University. We begin our broadcast tonight with our first Green Brothers student. Please welcome Mr. Nathan Farley. Now, Nathan has selected one of George Hamilton Green's novelty tunes called Dottie Dimples. Now, it was composed by George Green and Victor Arden, performed on the piano in the All-Star Trio, which, as you all know, is a famous group that also included Wheeler Wadsworth on saxophone. The All-Star Trio has sold millions of records, and the melody makes us wonder if Dottie might have been the girl who George never forgot. is something. I can picture her now with red hair, freckles, and of course those dimples. Who could forget? Now let's turn the clock back a few years now to 1916. It was a breakthrough year for George Green. He got his first recording contract from the Edison Company, a big deal and a huge success. Now the records flew off the shelf, and Thomas Edison was a happy man. So happy that afterwards the Green brothers recorded over 150 songs for Edison, as well as a couple thousand more on every label in the record business. Today, in 1932, they've not done yet. Between gigs, George, as always, loved sports, especially baseball, golf, and, well, as a young man, he liked boxing, though on one occasion, after a match in Chicago, he had to perform on his xylophone before a large audience wearing a big bandage on his nose. So that convinced him to retire from boxing and pursue more genteel activities like golf. Now, as a lefty, his golf game is good enough to compete in club championships. He was the champion one year with the Dunwoody Golf Club in Yonkers, New York. His real interests, however, are in composing, performing, and teaching the xylophone, as our students here are demonstrating tonight. All musicians take inspiration from each other, as well as those who predated them, and in 1918, George was no different. Inspired by Stephen Foster's Swanee River, he penned a slow drag, which he called Log Cabin Blues. Now tonight, our Green Brothers student, our next student, will perform Log Cabin Blues with the Novelty Band. Please welcome Sarita Ferry. Sarita. She comes to us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Back home, she had to fight with many other students for practice time, as there were only a couple of instruments available to her. Well, just imagine arriving at KU and its incredible selection of xylophones and other mallet instruments, numbering in the hundreds in the center's collection, just waiting for her to play. She discovered mallet nirvana. Now, folks, did you know that as a boy, George Green also had to share time on the xylophone with his older brother, Joe? The solution was to finally build his own xylophone with the help of his grandfather. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Sarita Ferby and the Novelty Band will now play Log Cabin Blues. Take it away. Thank you, sir. That was wonderful. That's the way to drag it along in the right way. Now today, in 1932, it was about 10 years ago, that George Hamilton Green wrote Triplets, a song that quickly gained popularity among both mallet performers and the public. Now, many New York record companies lined up to add triplets to their catalogs and were all too happy if they could also have George Hamilton Green himself performing the number on their records. After all, the winning composer performing his winning composition means more money for the record company's bottom line. Now, George claims that the xylophone is the perfect instrument. If you listen to the way our next very accomplished student of the Green Brothers approaches this song, you will know why. Now, he took the overnight express train from a tiny little unknown burg in Nevada you may not have heard of. It's called Las Vegas. Anyway, please welcome Sam Wetzel. Sam is a proud Kutztown University alumnus and very serious about mallet percussion, having received his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at KU, studying with Dr. Frank Coomer, our conductor of tonight's music. Afterwards, he moved to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, for his master's, and is now following up with a Doctor of Fine Arts degree. Now, in spite of the distance, Sam still remains involved with the Center for Mallet Percussion Research, and aren't we fortunate? So, ladies and gentlemen, now, here is Sam Wetzel and the new Novelty Band playing George's legendary mallet melody, Triplets.
1, 2, 3.
these words from our sponsor, the Hawkinson Motor Company. When you go for a drive, you want comfort, safety, and a sense that you are in control of the road. Well, the answer to your dreams is now available. Presenting the 1932 Hawkinson Dream Sedan, the car that gets you there with style and imagination. That's why we say, don't just drive there, dream your way there. Its sleek and stylish design will be the envy of everybody on campus. Wall-to-wall floorboards will give you ride as you race over the puddles on the highway. And the famous two on the floor will give you get up and go. One for get up and two for go. As you race to those important engagements, committee meetings, and university events. Yes, it's the car of imagination, escorting its passengers into the future, including this year's innovation of Hawkinson Engineering. Automatic drive. Yes, now you can nap as you go and really dream while sitting behind the wheel and you snooze your way across America. So remember, whether awake or sleep, keep moving forward with a new Hawkinson Dream Sedan. Drive a Hawkinson today, buy one tomorrow, and wake up in Illinois. It's a dream come true, so don't just drive there, dream your way there. See your local Hawkinson dealer today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let the record show, since this is radio, that we did not ask you to applaud, but you willingly and spontaneously applauded for our sponsor, and we approve of that. Now, George Hamilton Reed wrote and recorded the next song in 1926, just a few years ago, with Frank Banta on the piano. Now, Frank, as you know, is one of the top popular song pianists, as well as a member of the original 8 Victor recording artists, a team of singers and musicians who have toured the country in a luxurious private railroad train, performing and promoting records from the Victor Talking Machine Company. Now the song is Jovial Jasper. Again, it's another slow drag, but you won't find it dragging or slow. And who better to perform this stylish drag than the Green's New Novelty Band, once again featuring Sam Wessel on the xylophone. Ladies and gentlemen, Jovial Jasper.
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
And let's hold the Novelty band swinging along, playing Jovial Jasper. Thank you. Now, while George is often in the limelight, Joe Green, George's big brother, has also been busy performing and recording with Green's Novelty bands. They have several different bands, as well as other outfits. Now, George takes the spotlight a little more often, but Joe and George are equally adept at mallet percussion. For example, Joe is also the principal percussionist with the NBC Symphony under Arturo Toscanini, as well as percussionist with RCA Victor Red Seal Records. Now, in his earlier years, he was the principal percussionist with John Philip Sousa, who prepared him well. Now, Joe's talents and hard work have propelled him to the top of the profession. Now, one of the other musicians today is Rudy Wiedoeft, who I'm sure you've all heard of. He's a saxophonist who made a nice hit for himself when he wrote and recorded the novelty piece, Saxophobia. Now, not to be outdone, Joe Green, a friend and colleague of Rudy's, created his good-humored response from the mallet community when he responded by writing Xylophonia. And here with us today to perform Xylophonia is our fourth student. Please welcome Craig Mandelbaum. You heard him playing George Green's composition Alabama Moon at the start of our show. And now he will join the band in performing Joe Green's wonderful composition, Xylophonia.
1, 2, 1, 2.
showing the stuff the xylophone is made of. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the studio audience, and those of you listening in at home, on your radios everywhere, we've come to the end of another episode of Masters of the Mallet. And what masters we have with us today are four young mallet performers, including Greg Mamalel, Nathan Farley, Sarita Verby, and Sam Wetzel. And of course, the rest of Green's new Novelty band, including Little Green on cornet, Harry Green on piano, Ian Burton on banjo, and of course, Amanda Rhodes on string bass, and of course, Wells-Rapp on drums. And last but not least, our conductor, Frank Bruno. On behalf of the Hawkinson Motor Company, makers of the new Hawkinson Dream Sedan, and our program Masters of the Mallet, this is your announcer, Tony Wellman, reminding you whether you're a new Hawkinson car or in life in general, as you move through each day, remember, don't just drive there, dream your way there. Thank you and good night. You're listening to KUR, Kutztown University Radio. Okay, poof! It's now 2025 again. Welcome back to the present. Some of you may have been wondering why I was wearing a tuxedo for this. Well, of course, we want to put on our best show for all of you. But actually, when radio was new, they felt it had to acquire a certain respectability. So here were these announcers and performers in a studio, often with no audience at all, dressed to the nines, because it was the right thing to do. Anyway, that's why I'm dressed this way this evening, for historical accuracy. Anyway, thank you for joining us for our 1932 radio show. Now, the CMPR would not be possible without the many donors and friends like all of you here tonight. Now, many of you are mentioned on our program, but we want to recognize not only you, but the many others at the KU Foundation, the university, friends and supporters of the KU community. So it's time to thank you, for us to thank you. So please give yourselves a round of applause. You've earned it. Thank you. But we'd like to single out a couple of couples in particular. Now, these names should be known to you as their names are on the building. I would ask them to please stand as I announce their names. Richard and Betsy Wells. And of course, Will and Joan Rapp. And now it's time for a special salute. I guess it's with mixed feelings. As you know, Ken and Anne-Marie Hawkinson are about to leave us soon, after a very successful time here. I'd like to ask them to join me here on the stage. As you know, after 10 years serving as president of Kutztown University, Ken is retiring, and he and Anne-Marie are driving their Hawkinson sedan back home to Illinois. Now, Ken is being recognized, as many of you know, across the KU campus, not just tonight here, but elsewhere, by students, faculty, staff, the KU Foundation, and across the local community. They all want to express their gratitude and dedication for their leadership. Now, tonight, the Wells-Rapp Center for Mallet Percussion Research has been saluting him in our own very special way. We hope you've enjoyed it. Now, Ken and Anne-Marie will be greatly missed, but to fully express our appreciation, we have a few things to present to them tonight. Thank you, Mary.
A car?
It's a new car! This piece of paper, now, you'll recognize this from when you came in. Now, it's blank right now, but if you have not done so, we'd like all of our attendees tonight to sign it. So we'll make sure it's upstairs in our reception afterwards, and you can affix your various John Hancocks to it, and they can enjoy that back in Illinois. Remember the good times here. At this time, I'd like to hand the microphone over to Lou and Mary, and they have a few additional special touches tonight. Lou, I'll turn this microphone on for you in case you want it. Oh, it's on. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And Ken and Anne-Marie, thank you so much for all of the push that you had to do to get this thing done. If not that, it would be a hole in the ground. Still. But anyway, you're turning the page, a new chapter, and now you have nothing to do. So to get started, here's George Hamilton Green's instruction course for the xylophone. 50 lessons. There's 50 lessons, and you know, you get through the 50 lessons, you'll be a pretty good player. You don't have a xylophone, do you?
No.
Oh, yes, you do. You have to start somewhere. Most of these guys probably started on something like that.
Not recently.
You know, that's an interesting thing. You can start like that, you can get some of those things, then later in life, you finish on this. And Mary has something, because you're going to be practicing about 4 or 5 hours a day. You know, really. No, you'll never retire.
So here's to hang on your wall, and it says Mallet Maestro, Kenneth S. Hawkinson, KU President from 2015 to 2025. And this can go on your wall.
That's going to be 32 to 42.
Look at this. You recognize him?
It's called a caricature.
And because you're going to be practicing.
Because you're practicing so much, every day. I've been through this. It gets arduous, a little annoying. So for Anne-Marie, we have some noise-canceling earphones. Funny. May you enjoy. Thank you so much, Ken and Anne-Marie.
We'll see some. Here, we'll grab all that stuff. Let me put this in the stand for you.
Yes.
Here, I'll put this.
Those are now.
Tony, to our radio audience, around the world. I just can't get as low as you can get. Maybe the things I say will be low. How's that? Well, thank you all so much for coming. I want to especially acknowledge our trustees in the audience. And so Guido and Sue, thank you for coming tonight. And I know Bob and Jane Grimm are here too. Thanks so much for your support. So this was an absolutely wonderful performance, and we're just so honored to be in this amazing building, the Wells-Rapp Center for Mallet Percussion. Thank you. Thanks so much to Richard and Betsy and Will and Joan for your vision in creating this amazing space. and to Lou and Mary Green for their support of this building through the Green Family Room, which honors the legacy of their amazing family, and through scholarships for our music students, and an upcoming announcement for perhaps another gift. And Lou and Mary and all the other wonderful performers who took time out of their busy schedules to do this performance, thank you so much for sharing your time and talent with us. It's so nice to have our students come back. That is just amazing. And for instance, Mandy, what a treat to see you over there. She was one of our favorites when we were here in those first few years. And she's as shy now as she ever was, but she's an amazing teacher. So Anne-Marie and I remember, I guess 9 years ago, when you all performed an earlier version of this radio show, and how absolutely delighted we were with that performance. We met you for the first time, Lou and Mary, and through subsequent meetings here and in Florida and Connecticut, we became dear friends. It was a joy to have your granddaughter here at KU, and to hear of her success over these years. Staying with the Greens in their homes is a treat. They essentially live in museums with countless artifacts celebrating the evolution of music in America and the progress in music technology and delivering that music to a national audience. Thank you for all you have done for us, for the university, and preserving music and sharing it with the world. The Wells-Rapp, Greens, and so many others here tonight are to be commended for your passion for the arts. Events such as we witnessed tonight stops time and allows us all to come together for a few hours and share in something greater than ourselves. It said that art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. And art is a collaboration between God and the artist, and the less the artist does, the better. What art offers is space, a certain breathing room for the spirit. The ultimate goal of the arts is to bring about an awakening and to create a curiosity in individuals so as to inspire people to seek out new ways of seeing the world and new ways of seeing themselves. In wrapping up, we look out into the audience and see those whom we have become closest to over the last decade, who became our friends, and who have sustained us both in joyous times and in adversity. We are so grateful to all of you for your attendance at this event tonight, for your acceptance of Anne-Marie and myself into your homes and into your presence, and providing us a break from the daily struggles of work and life by providing us a refuge. It is through you that we have found friendship, beauty, inspiration, and even enlightenment. Thank you all so very, very much for this special evening. Do I really get a car?
We'll discuss that after the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have saved one last thing, a special encore for you tonight. Now, you remember we began our evening by playing an old Edison record of the Green Brothers Novelty Orchestra playing Yes, We Have No Bananas. So we thought maybe you'd like to hear it live and in person. So it's a tune dating to 1923. It was written by Frank Silver and Irving Cohen. It became a big hit and standard number for the Green Brothers and many other musicians. Like many popular songs of the 1920s, it tells a story, all in a fun way. Now this story is about a hard-working corner grocer, recently arrived from Greece, who is still perfecting his command of English. So eager to please his very demanding clientele, he never says the word no, regardless of the question. This version tonight features an original arrangement for 4 mallet instruments by our own Wells-Rapp, with the rest of the Novelty band. So here is yes, we have no bananas. There's a fruit store on our street. It's run by a Greek, and he keeps good things to eat. If you should hear him speak, when you ask him anything, he never answers no. He just yeses you to death. And as he takes your dough, he tells you, yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. We spring beans and onions, tomatoes and scallions, and all other kind of fruits, and say, we have an old-fashioned tomato, a Long Island potato. But yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. Business got so good with him, he wrote home to say, send me Pete and Nick and Jim, I need help right away. When he got them in the store, there was fun, you bet. Someone asked for asparagus, and then the whole quartet all answered yes. We have no bananas. We have no bananas today. Just try those coconuts, those walnuts, and donuts. There ain't many nuts like them. We'll sell you two. I'm a red herring, garden brown, and a mulberry. But yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. Yeah. Well, I don't have to do this anymore. And not only that, of course, I was obviously, the next generation of percussion music is safe. I think
How about Dr. Hawkinson? That's the next.
he's going to be driving a Hawkinson Dream. He'll be safe. I think you'll all agree that was a song with real appeal. But now, let's all socialize upstairs for some refreshments. We have delicious food up there. But remember, we have no bananas. Don't forget to sign the playbill. We'll have it up there for you if you haven't already. Thank you very much,